Welcome everybody to Transparency Podcast. I am your girl Butta B-Rocka. And before we get into this episode, I just want to tell you guys, appreciate life. There is so many things going on in this world right now, but we are all here. We're living, we're breathing. Appreciate your family, and while you have this time at your house, make sure you're doing something to elevate your mind, reading, writing, become creative, find out some different tools and trades and different things that you can do. And also, while you have this downtime, make sure you guys get to my book, Fear of Failure, Fear of Not Trying. It is about my ups and downs in the music industry, all of the various people I've worked with, and me getting myself back out there after a lot of craziness going on and everything. So make sure you get the book, Fear of Failure, Fear of Not Trying. It did become an Amazon bestseller. Within 7 hours, I became a bestseller and hottest new release. So make sure you get that. But without further ado, I would like to bring on Mr. Wizard Jones. This man is absolutely incredible. Hey, Wizard.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm so glad that you joined us today.
I'm happy to be here. Thanks for asking. That was pretty cool. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you picking up the phone and saying yes. So me and Wizard, actually, I don't honestly remember how long ago I met you, but I know I was around 14, 15.
That's exactly right. Yeah, it's been that long.
Yeah. And I think
you came up for, you were doing vocal lessons with my roommate at the time. And that's how we met many. Well, it was a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. There we
go. Yep, a few weeks ago. So for those who do not know who you are, go ahead and bless everybody and tell them who Mr. Wizard is. Reginald, aka Wizard.
No government, sir.
No government.
Wizard Jones, transplant from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, 37 years ago into Atlanta. Since moving here, have been a moving force within the music scene, just by word of mouth. So my hat's off to all of y'all. Thought that I was doing something spectacular and decided to mention my name. I've been around for quite a while in the music industry, whether Pittsburgh or here. But I guess, where do you want to start? Where I got my start, where I was born, shoe size, or what we doing?
Definitely the shoe size. Okay, so we'll take it from the beginning, because you're being very, very modest right now. He's a musical director. He's a producer. He's just all that. Plays the keys. I think you play every instrument, but not.
Pretty much.
Yeah, so he's being very, very modest. So we're going to take it back to the beginning. When did you get your first start, and which instrument?
My first start, and I know everybody goes back and says this, but my parents were musicians. And my dad played organ. He's a jazz organist. And so basically his quartets would always rehearse at my house like I bought it. But I was about 5, and they would leave the instruments to come back the next day to rehearse. So I'd pick up the guitar or drums, whatever was left at the house. I had access to play, besides my dad's organ. So Dad started taking me around on guitar. I actually started on guitar, and he said, and at the age of 5, I was playing with my dad and some of the little chitlin joints around that area, which was cool with me. In the summer, basically, is when I could work, because, had to get up early for kindergarten. Mom and her. And that's where it started. It was just my love for music, just being in a musical household all of my life. I don't
Mhm.
know anything else. Just knew I loved it. It was quite a few years later when I decided this is what I'm going to, when I knew better, this is what
Mhm.
I'm going to do for the rest of my life. Other than that, I was just planning just to be, to amuse myself. Didn't need
So when
friends, didn't need no imaginary friends. Go
right.
ahead.
So when you actually said this is what I really want to do, what was your pivoting moment, and what was your first gig?
My first gig was when I was with my dad. I think he may have been 5 or 6 years old. Um, and I guess I really got the recognition. I was so small, but we were doing a little community festival in my hometown.
Hmm.
And Dad took a break. So I decided I would get on organ just because it was a club, the Elks Club, and I wasn't allowed at the bar. I'm a kid. Of course not. Had somebody else go get my drinks. But just and started playing, and the crowd getting bigger and bigger. Wanted to watch the kid play organ. I thought it was pretty cool. I didn't think nothing of it. I just thought it was cool. I was just doing my thing, and Dad thought it was a pretty cool thing. So during the summers when I was out of school every year, he always had some gigs lined up, but I was always playing guitar. And again, on his breaks, I wasn't allowed to the bar. He would go get my food or whatever the case may be, and I'd play organ just to, pass away the time. Uh, we used a lot of great guys in my hometown. My cousins, who were also musicians, those of you in the industry or know about anybody in the industry, one of my cousins is Grip Smith, who his older brother Purse. We all played together growing up with my father, and that's kind of like where it started. It was really, really young age. Then the other kids in my neighborhood, they got instruments for Christmas. We would gather at each other's house. Depends on whose parents were sick of listening to our noise at the time.
Right.
And you said, y'all gonna have to go to George's house with that, and y'all gonna have to go to so and so and so on. So it was just a big circle. We kept going around everybody's house, but it kept us off the streets.
Mm-hmm.
Best things I could say about that whole time. We were focused. We had mutual interest, and it kept us out because I come from a not really a great town. It was easy to get caught up in some bad things or find a niche to get up out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Now the hometown I'm from is called Aliquippa, which is about 25 miles outside of Pittsburgh. We're noted for our football legends, which are like Tyler, Reeves, Tony Dorsett, Mike Ditka, all of those guys, the football giants. That's what we breeded, was football players, and we still do. But my way out was through music.
That is incredible. And I actually know Grip. I never knew that y'all was cousins.
Well, related. Now, most
Yeah,
people
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Wow. So your whole family's musical. Okay.
We actually moved to Atlanta together. We were in a band back home called Rare Experience, and the band decided, the steel industry was just shutting down. It was bad, and we decided we were going to move. We knew some people here who were recording here, and one day we just said, we got enough to move, let's go.
Wow. So you caught your first big break technically at age 5. Was your dad paying you? Were you getting paid?
Yeah, I got paid, back in the day. Back then it was just for the love of playing. It was
Right.
Just, I got a barbecue chicken sandwich or something like that. I don't know.
Right.
Then I moved up, started making about $15 a gig. Couldn't.
Yeah.
You know how many G.I. Joe dolls and the little model cars that I could buy for a kid? I was in heaven to that. And that was about it. But, then I guess maybe around 6th grade, with a lot of the other kids in my neighborhood. We got to find, catching wind of one another. So like I said, they would come over, man, can I bring my guitar over? Sure, let's go. And that's how my band started. I was in sixth grade, had my own band.
Wow.
And we all had to have chaperones. I was the baby of the group. And, one of our parents or someone older would have to travel when we would get gigs or whatever the case may be. We played around town, neighboring cities and stuff like that. But we were determined to do it. The musicians come out of the Pittsburgh area, and we wanted to be better than them. It wasn't an ego thing. It was just, you had those greats you had to live up to. So you either start at that level or supersede it. And we always aim high, Willis. We aimed high. And that's how I got up out of there. And don't plan it in 7, but the years I still think are pretty good to me.
That's real cool. Okay, so you initially started on another instrument, and then when did you officially switch to keyboards?
You know what? I'm not sure when. It's funny because I was such a small guy, contrary to what you see now, those who know me. I was a really, really small, frail guy when I was a young kid. And my guitar was just too heavy for me to carry. My dad would have to come to rehearsals and carry my guitar home after you don't work 16 hours in the steel mills. Pissed off, but he would come and get me. And that was I played guitar only because if I couldn't carry a guitar, I definitely couldn't carry a keyboard. Or they were making portable keyboards. And so the only thing I had in my house was a Hammond B3. We weren't carrying that. But I had always been on keys. If we rehearsed at my house, where the organ was, we rehearsed upstairs. Well, he gave me an organ which stayed in the basement, and either one. So I would play keyboards at home. But if we had gigs, it was pretty much on guitar because that was the smallest thing I could carry. So I've always been a keyboard. Probably around middle school, who believed in us and would help me carry the organ out of the house. Dad would let me use it. Except for when we were playing in clubs that were like on top of buildings. It was crazy where we were set up at. And it was just too heavy to carry the organ up the steps. So we would work, till I was able to afford keyboards that were small enough for us to carry. And maybe around 14, when I finally got my first Fender Rhodes, that's when I officially, in a sense, kind of people started really noticing me on keys. And when I moved to Atlanta, most people saw me on keys, but I always played guitar with my band.
That's crazy. I never knew that.
But so when people see me play guitar now, I say, man, I never knew you played guitar. No, that's where I started.
Right.
And, with drums and keys, all of that extra stuff was in the house. That's all it was. I was really fascinated with the guitar, still I am, but there's quite a few of them around here on the rack somewhere.
And actually, I saw, the last time I was at your studio, I saw other equipments, but I still, today is my first time knowing that you actually started on the guitar.
And most people don't know that because they see me on key, or when I'm out working with the act, I'm never on guitar.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say I'm never, but most of 95% of my work is on keys. I do a lot of guitar work around town, so that's when people see me go, whoa, I didn't know that. But I'm like, what? That's all I played growing up.
Wow.
And During my middle school years, I went to trumpet, trombone, all the brass instruments. It was whatever I could get my hands on that made any kind of musical sound.
Wow.
That brought peace to my world.
Yeah.
And I didn't have to be out in the streets, running the streets, and I didn't do that till I was a grown man.
Okay, so you had your own band. When did you start playing behind other major artists? And who was your first major artist?
My first major artist was way back in the day. And I only done a couple of gigs. She used my band, or a few of my bandmates. It was Phyllis Hyman. And that was one of my first experiences with someone on that level. My band was always writing and doing their own thing and trying to get their own deal. So that was nothing we never looked at. You understand what I'm saying? Never looked at being a side musician for someone else.
Right.
It was always about us and us trying to be where they are and be that artist per se. A lot of great things happened for us when we were younger growing up. Like I said, Phyllis Hyman was one. Then our band, we were opening up for dates with Tom Brown. A lot of stuff that came to the Pittsburgh area. The promoters would call us to open the shows. So that was our experience, our networking opportunities to get out there and meet people.
Right.
And start to expand our brand. So that was kind of dabbling into what we wanted to do. And I guess after moving to Atlanta, my first quote unquote break came with, and we had started a band called Project 1990, which a lot of the guys I still use right now. So that band went on to be the backing band for TLC from the very first album, Who on the TLC Tip. So that was back early 90s, 91, 92, whenever that CD came out. So I guess that you can say that was my first break on the level where I'm at now. And it's done nothing but elevate.
Right.
From that moment on. It's been incredible. If I left here tomorrow, I tell my kids, celebrate, because your father did everything he wanted to do in
That
life,
is awesome.
and more.
That's
So,
awesome.
and still shooting for some more stuff,
Right.
because I've been blessed to still be here. So we keep climbing every day we can.
Right. So, okay. So you worked with TLC. Name some of the other people you worked with. And then when did it switch to you becoming MD?
Well, you know what?
From the beginning.
That's always really kind of been without, before it became a title.
Right.
That's what I did.
Okay.
From a kid, I was, from high school band, I was drum major. I directed the bands, the concert band. I was always in that position of leading musically.
Right.
Wasn't an MD or conductor. It wasn't. I didn't look at it like that. It's just that I wanted to be good in all aspects of music that I did, and and I guess my band or other musicians always saw that, and would always get, man, so we're gonna do such and such a song, and then they look to me, go like, or you want to do something else, or you want to count it off, or it was always something to go, okay, you take over. I don't know what to do from here.
Right.
Or I think it would be better. And it's just been that way all my life. So, and nowadays, like I said, when we got with TLC, my band Project 1990, Tommy Martin, we had started this band together. So it was never like I was MD of that band.
Right.
Each one of us had equal say. If you had an idea, that's what I think leading musically is about respecting who you create this sound with, and know that they have musical ideas too. And that's what we did. Wasn't looked at as an MD. That's just how it was.
Right.
And if you got a bunch of guys that work well together, you don't have to say much. The music dictates everything that we wanted to do.
Yeah.
So if Tommy said something on guitar, by the next time it come back around, we was all saying the same, holding the same conversation.
Right.
And that's how it's always been. So that stood out when we did the TLC thing. L.A. Reid noticed us. So he said, man, I got another act. He came to me and said, why don't you put a band together for it? Sure. The next act was Tony Braxton.
Wow.
And during that time, in those early 90s, I was doing a gig with Keisha Jackson, vocalist here in Atlanta, who I use on just about everything that I do. We were playing with her in some of the clubs, just, keep our chops up, make $5, try to live indoors, the whole 9 yards. Because we didn't have other jobs. We didn't have any jobs. We played music. We hustled to stay alive with that. So Silk had just gotten signed. And Lil G would perform with us just to make those couple of extra dollars.
Right.
At the time. And those guys always said, man, when we make it big, you all are going to be our band. Sure enough, that held true. They hit that record, they called us. Big kudos to them. Thank you very much, gentlemen. And to this day, 26 years later, I'm still working with Silk. That's the wonderful thing about that. When people like what you do,
right,
keep calling.
Right.
You buy a car. You like a Chevy, you don't buy a Chevy every time you go to get a new car.
Right.
But you just got a pocket full of money. You just going to buy that Benz, the floss. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got that. But I got a MARTA bus pass, though. I'm good. I got a Breeze car, Jack. So it was from Tony to Silk. Most of the work I did at the time was for the LaFace company.
Did you ever work with A Few Good Men?
No, never worked with A Few Good Men. Knew those guys, but didn't work with them. Actually, my first gig with the LaFace acts was Damien Dane.
Okay.
Then we did get Tony. But Tony was put off for a few years before she came back out. He had that material. 7 Whole Days was my favorite song for a long time.
Right.
Let's see here. So we went to the TLC, to Tony Braxton's, to Silk. What did I do after Silk? But it was a number of acts that came from the face. It wound up being like I was really kind of settled into the resident music director. When they release a new artist and they're doing promo for television, they call me.
Right.
Thank you, LA. Appreciate that. And still to this day, I can say that I can go back and walk into any situation and hold my ground, and have been with these groups for years. I love that.
Did you used to work with Usher too? I know you worked with New Edition.
Mm-hmm. Usher was the next LaFace act.
Okay.
I worked with after Tony. Actually, when we were doing Tony Braxton's first tour, we were opening act for Frankie Beverly and Maze. And me and Tommy were in the band. We were in our band, Project 1990. We did that. Then during that time, we caught the attention of everybody out on the TLC tour. That's what it was, with the Bobby Brown Humping Around tour. Big ups B. We did that, picked up management.
Right.
Just people, we wound up getting a deal with Virgin Records, Project 1990. We changed the name of the band from Project 1990 to Social Insanity, which is a funk, rock, R&B bass band.
Right.
It was an infusion of everything. It was pretty dope. So in the middle of Tony Braxton's tour, it got extended for a few more months. And me and Tommy were like, well, we would like to, but we got this offer from Virgin Records to go over here and do this thing. She said, look, go. I know that's important for everybody.
Right.
So we wound up leaving the tour after it was extended, because we told Virgin we wouldn't be available till after January that year, or that following year. We went, did the showcase. All kind of stuff happened in the world. Some things got shuffled around with Virgin and somebody else buying them, and they're buying somebody else. So a lot of people that worked to get us in the door were no longer there.
Right.
So whatever, how they pack up your stuff when they get ready.
Yeah.
We was in that box. They put the pictures and the little plaques and stuff. Everyone was at the curb. But there were still other doors that were opening up. It was not like it was in vain. It was a good learning process for us. And, in between that, we wound up doing so many other acts. It was crazy. Who came after Usher? Wow, I can't remember who came after Usher. I think it may have been Goody Mob. That's who, Goody Mob. So we wound up doing Goody Mob. Best tour, one of the best tours I've ever been on in my life.
I was
Honestly,
there.
I learned so much from them brothers when I tell you just about how that culture felt, how they thought, how the music should be for them, how it spoke to everyone else. Because that was growth.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was the best thing that ever happened to me musically. So big ups to the Goody Mob, actually to everybody that I've ever gotten a call from. They say, come in and do your thing. That's the best thing anybody can do for you. Say, we like what you do. Come in and do your thing with our thing. And let's see what we come up with.
Yeah. That's awesome.
During all of that time, my cousin Grip, he wound up being the music director, going to Keith Sweat. So during the time of that LaFace era, Grip was working with like the Jagged Edge, the So Def camp. Right. I was more so with the LaFace camp. So we kind of really, I ain't gonna say had it on lockdown per se, the city, but the two major labels coming up out of here.
Right.
We had them.
Right.
I forgot about during the course of all of that. When Chip Glass, I had known him for years. He said, man, I got this brother from Columbus, man. We got to meet him. We're going to bring him up here. Want him to meet you. I said, cool. I was working at a studio then, a record company. Mm-hmm. Brought him up. He said, man, can you show me how to work the drum machine? I just want to learn how to do what y'all do. You mind if I watch? Go for it. Any questions, ask. Anything you want to know, try it. Don't matter. That's how I learned it. So I was extending the invitation open to him. That young man happened to be in Dallas, Austin. So Dallas became, of course, producer for TLC.
Right.
During the course of that time, I'm going back a little bit. He had a group called the Highland Place Monsters. That was crazy. That was really a good group. Didn't last very long. Should have went on to be just huge, but those are politics in that. That happened with there. The funny thing was, because of that, and then the time for the Highland Place Monsters, Dallas Lake Brothers Squirt was out in the club looking for a band. Mm-hmm. So my band, Project 1990, was playing Chit Chats. If you're from Atlanta,
yeah,
y'all know about Chit Chats. But anyway, band, Squirt came out. He said, man, you're the band my brother's been looking for. He said, y'all guys are great. I can't wait to get back to tell him about y'all. And I'm like, well, who's your brother? He said, he's a producer. His name's Dallas Austin. I said, oh, tell Dallas you ran across Wizard. Tell him I said hello. Squirt, you're who? I said, Wizard. He said, man, believe it or not, he sent me out here looking for you.
Oh, wow.
During the course of all of that time and reputation, like I said, everyone else has spoken for me. That's what's kept me working. Without trying to be egotistical, but I never had to, per se, hustle for a gig a day in my life. Someone else has always been my resume. I never had to sell it. Someone else did that.
Wow.
And I'm here. Who else we did? We did Jagged Edge. I did Jagged Edge a couple of times television. Who else after that? Well, then I started going back to some of the groups that I grew up with. And one of the first groups that I got a chance to work with was one of my favorite groups. 1980 was the year I graduated high school. Age, but I don't mind. And the hottest song of that summer was Take Your Time, Do It Right by the SOS Band. And when I got a call from a friend of mine who was doing Tony Braxton and some other groups with me, said, hey, good. He go, man, we need another keyboard player. For who? SOS Band, you interested? Damn right. Let's go. Count it off. Let's go. That started, and that's been about 30 years ago. Wow, that's crazy. One of my favorite bands, the hottest song ever during the summer that my graduation, and actually still with them. I still program and do a lot of their shows. I just don't perform with them anymore because of scheduling. Got a chance to play with one of my favorite groups. Okay, we're going through some things. Then I get the call to go and do Usher, the My Way tour. Take a break from that, go to do Usher, come back to SOS. SOS is doing a thing called United We Funk. And during this time, United We Funk was a blend of quite a few groups. It was the SOS Band, Confunction, Barcades, Roger, and Dad's Band. Yeah, 5 groups. And right at the time they were doing that project, Roger was killed. And they wound up replacing him with Charlie Wilson. And they kept saying, man, I got the cat on keys for you. Raouf kept saying, I got the cat. Man, he can cover all this stuff. It doesn't matter. Just so it didn't take off because of Roger's death.
Right.
Like they wanted it to. So I wound up going and doing the Usher My Way tour. And another friend of mine came in, Wiley Morris, excellent producer and songwriter. You should look him up. He'd be good for your show. Then finally got the break to go in. They called and said, man, we about to go do these dates. Wiley's not going to be able to do them. Can't do them. Sure can. Send me the shows. Here's a bunch of groups I grew up wanting to be like.
Right.
Got Band, Barcades, Confunction. Oh man, I'm in heaven right now.
Yeah.
And that point is where I took off with all of the old school stuff, because the United We Funk thing would work for 2 weeks, and their respective bands, because it was like a couple of members from each of the bands,
right,
to come in. So we would come in and do that for 2 weeks, and then their respective gigs for as Confunction, SOS, we do those for 2 weeks. So everyone was impressed with what I did. Charlie called, doing this solo album. I want you to come play with me. I'm on the way. Man, we got a date coming up. Come function. Can you cover the gig? I'm right there. Knew all of the stuff from a kid.
Right.
Growing up playing this stuff. And from there on, it's just more and more of the old school, which is the stuff that I loved and grew up on, kept coming my way. Doing that was one of the, was that fantastic? That was great. Who else after that? I mean, we were doing, man, gosh, who else was there? Got a call one afternoon. A friend of mine that played with me with Usher. Hey man, what you doing? Sitting around here. Want to go to Japan? Yeah, with who? He said, you got a passport? Yeah, that's good. I said, with who? New Edition. Yeah, I can do that. All right. I'm going to give you Brooke Payne's number. Me and Brooke talk. You think you can do it? We won't have no rehearsals. All right. I said, you have a copy of the show? Sure. Coming to get it. Boom. Took in my passport, took care of that 2 weeks prior to leaving.
Wow.
First gig with New Edition was, my first rehearsal was sound check in Tokyo, Japan.
Wow.
17 years later, still there with Johnny and all of that. So went through quite a few years doing them back and forth between SOS, New Edition. New Edition was great because they had the spin-offs of Ralph, BBD, and Johnny. So New Edition wasn't working. Johnny, BBD, all of those cats, I was always working.
Right.
We come in, then Bob came in a little later when I started doing the solo stuff with Bob, but that was really cool. Like 17 years later, wow, that's when I look at that, that's incredible to be with these artists for so long. SOS band 30 years, New Edition 17. These are not just fly by night. I did a weekend or a gig filled in for somebody.
Right.
I was there and was music director. So wound up doing a gig with New Edition. Been there ever since. Who else? Coming out. Oh, we were doing BBD. That's what I was getting to. We're doing Belle Biv DeVoe. Mm-hmm. We had a long month of gigs, and we thought we were doing the last 2 weeks, but things changed immediately. And it's not a bad thing. Don't get me wrong. It's not a bad thing. It really was a blessing in disguise. And so me and my bandmates were calling around trying to get flight information for the weekend. And I go, "Are y'all using the band?" He goes, "Yeah." Okay. "Are you using this band?" So the guys wanted to move. Okay, fine. Got a brand new house. Don't know what I'm gonna do with this mortgage. It's getting pretty rough around me. Tension is really high.
Right.
So I decide I'm gonna sit down and let God do what God does. And that's just, he's in the blessing business. That's what he does. So I sit down with my laptop. I open it. I'm going through Facebook, see what's happening. I said, I'm going to start throwing out some feelers. Like I said, all this time, I've never had to hustle for a job. Somebody's always called me, here's work. I'm there. I'm going through, hey, so-and-so and so-and-so is looking for you. It was the old manager for Goody Mob. Cool. We're on DM. I'm like, cool, I'll reach out to him in a few. Boom. I call him. Hey, man, what's happening? Everything's good. What you doing? You still managing? No, man, I'm into the politics thing. I'm trying to get this guy elected for Atlanta for Mayor Kasim. Mayor Kasim, what was his name? That guy, yeah. Anyway, we got through all the cordials. He said, look here, they're bringing the Soul Train Awards back. and they're going to bring them to Atlanta. I said, oh man, that's cool. Musically, start, bringing some award shows and some other things to Atlanta. That's going to make it happen. That's wonderful. What can I do to help? I know just about everybody in town. As far as musicians, that's what he said. He wanted to use musicians out of Atlanta. Cool. I got them. What you need? He said, we only got one stipulation. The drummer. They want to use Lil Jon. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. All right, y'all got a drummer. What else you need? He said, well, they need a music director. I'm like, well, there's a ton of them. There's some great stuff. He said, well, 3 names came up when we were talking about doing it. And so he says, Phil Davis. I said, yeah, I know Phil. Phil works with George Duke and a whole bunch of other greats. I mean, one of my idols. Phil is really one of my favorite players. I said, man, perfect. This cat can get it done. He said, Grip, you know Grip? I said, yeah, I know Grip very well. It's my cousin. And he said, well, yeah, they thought about him. I said, he's been doing Keith Sweat for over...
Just a sec. Sorry, I missed that. Could you say it again, please?
That's Siri listening in on our conversation. I'm sorry. Apologize. So yeah, he can do it. He's been doing Keith Sweat for years. He's up for the job. He can be the MD. He said, and there's you. I said, oh man, that's cool. I appreciate that. And I'm good with whatever way I want. If you want to use me, fine. If not, I can still supply you with people that you need. Mm-hmm. He said, no, I don't think you understand. He said, no, they want you to MD the Soul Train Awards. Cool. I mean, God is in the blessing business. I mean, I am in dire straits of some coins in my pocket. Just always on time. That's all it is. God just doing what God does. And that was 2009. Got that. He said, pick the band you want. Only thing is, you got Lil Jon. Please give me Lil Jon on drums any day. I don't care.
Right.
That's wonderful. Got a good start. So I wound up calling in Phil Davis on second keys. Mike Phillips is on sax. Mike brought in the horn section from Prince. Mm-hmm. So I'm off to this is heaven. I'm doing the Soul Train Awards. I'm MD. I'm just it still hasn't registered yet, but I got those cats. I call in Trey Gilbert on bass, Tommy on guitar,
right.
DJ Kemet. Oh God, one of my favorite DJs, absolutely in the world. Don't know him, you need to know him. That's a party rocker right there. But wound up being such a great thing. They said, look, the production company that was filming this show, after we finished, I was a bundle of nerves. But after we finished, Paxton Baker came up to me, president of BET TV One at the time. He said, we'd like for you to do this again next year. And, we can talk about some more years after that. Sure. Right now, it's like crazy. Obviously, they enjoyed what they heard. It was a wonderful thing. Wound up doing that for 3 years. So Tommy Martin on guitar, I said, look here, man, they just asked me to do this next year. If you want it, the gig is yours. You come back and do it. And he said, man, I'm right here. And he goes, man, while we talking about putting stuff together, he said, I got this group, this artist got to put a band together for. Would you be interested? Any kind of money, be great.
Right.
What you got? Well, we're gonna put it together, and we're gonna start rehearsals mid-December. I said, well, who is it? He said, you ever heard of this kid named Justin Bieber? No. He said, you haven't? He's the biggest thing on YouTube. Okay, I'll look him up. So at this time, I started looking through this millions of views per video this kid has posted. Millions. And the second lady said, well, they're going to do a audition for the gig. Okay, well, I'll come in and I'll do my thing, and if they like me, they can keep me. So we come in, we do this audition, and they were auditioning several people. And I asked the tour director, I said, well, does the other keyboard player need my keys, or is he bringing his own? Do I need to move mine? You know, I'm asking questions, trying to be courteous, get out of the way. He said, there is no other keyboard player. So you're the keyboard player. I said, I thought you said this was a audition. He said, no, we knew who you were before you got here. Once again, somebody else has spoken of me. Somebody was paying attention. You never know who's paying attention to you.
Right.
That someone was Scooter Braun, who at the time when I met Scooter, I was working with another artist that Tricky Stewart was producing, trying to get on the map. And Scooter was looking for that Justin Bieber at the time, was always at the showcases for these girls. And Tommy said, you know a guy named Scooter? I said, I know one Scooter. I said, he played with me with Joey Enriquez on Jay Leno's show one night. And I think he's playing with Marcus Miller right now. But anyway, going through all of this, we come in there, Scooter walks in the room. I was like, oh man, that guy. He said, oh, you know me now? I said, yeah, I know you. I thought Scooter was a black guy. But Scooter happens to be a white guy this time. So there was my first stint with Justin Bieber, which went on for 6 years. Had a couple of health scares during the course of that time. I had 2 heart attacks while I was out on the road with him on the second tour that we did on the Believe tour. That's the tour it was. And thought that was going to be it for me. After the second heart attack, Justin said, man, go home, get better. Don't worry about your job. If you don't want to come back to the last day, don't worry about it. I got you. Just go get better. And like I said, when people show you that kind of love and respect for what you do, and they have your best interests at heart, you can't help but to love and support these guys all the way through to the end, because that's what they did for me. So wound up doing those 2 tours, major tours with Justin on the strength. Who else we did? There's a lot more on the resume that covers who I've worked with more. The list is smaller for who I haven't. I mean, I still have my favorites out of the old school. They're still like Sherelle, Alexander O'Neill. Okay, you all know of the New Edition family and all of that stuff. In Vogue. Did them for quite a few years. Well, it's been a lot.
Who is somebody that you haven't worked with that you want to work with?
Well, that's crazy. I get that question a lot. Probably my number one would be Stevie Wonder. I play lead tambourine. It didn't matter. Just put me on the stage with him, and I'd be a happy camper.
Yeah.
The other one would be Phil Collins, and just thought his catalog is amazing. I love the songs and I love to play them. And another one of my rock favorites would be Rod Stewart. Just he's doing more of the big band type of thing now, but the rock and roll Rod Stewart.
Yeah.
Yes, I'd go for that any day. I didn't get a chance to work with Whitney, I've done some work for her, but didn't get a chance to like work with her on stage. But who else was there that I didn't get or would like to work with? That'd be anybody that, you know. Oh, well, good question. I think those. I mean, I know of those, but there are some others. When I hear them, and I know I would probably enjoy doing what they do and reproducing their music. I mean, I work with the greats like Butta, B-Rocka. You know, we've done some things together. She's all right. She's all right. Nobody know it yet, but when they do, it's gonna be something else.
So let me ask you another question. Okay, so you had these heart attacks. I remember actually when you had them because I was checking up on you. How important is it to have a plan B? Because like with you on the road, of course, even for myself, I'm on the road more than anything, and that's my main source of income. I know that you're also a producer and different things, but how important is it for people to look at plan Bs? Even with the coronavirus going on now, it's affecting a lot of people in the music industry who is used to touring so much. So speak on that.
You know what, I think if you plan ahead of time for a plan B, your plan, for me, this is just my opinion, your plan Bs don't really come to manifest. Why? Because you'll be more apt to really spend too much time on the plan B as opposed to perfecting your plan A.
Okay.
And my whole thing was my plan A was going to be my whole ticket all the way through this whole ride.
Right.
And like I said, even though a lot of my work is done on the road, that's how I pay the bills. Just like anybody else goes to a job. That's my job. I go out, I reproduce the hits that these other artists have made. Love it. Do that. I'm gone for the day. For the weekend, I'm home. Unless you're doing a major tour like a Justin Bieber, when you're gone for months at a time. Excuse me. Pardon me. My plan Bs came along because plan A was on hold for me. Mm-hmm. So the same energy you put in keeping your plan A up here,
right,
on top of your A game, when that plan B, when you start kicking that plan A over to let me get a plan B, and you really got to think in terms of putting all of that energy you put in the plan A, put the same in the plan B, and let's try to get that plan B up here.
Right.
Now let's try to balance that and keeping that cash flow coming in just as strong on each one, or steadily on each one. Right now we can't go out and gig. We understand that. So my other thing with production, okay, there's television, there's film, there's all kind of stuff within those realms. You have commercials, you have documentaries. So I'm putting together my voice package now, my voice demo now for voiceover work. That is a part of my plan B. There's I love to cook, always love to cook. Anybody know it, that, you know, in the band know me. If we pull up in the hotel, we got some grill, we go into the store, we're gonna get some meat. TLC was the same way. We would pitch in money. If we got suites where we had kitchens, everybody pitch in $5. I'm going to the store and we selling fish dinner stuff. But, you know, and I would cook. So, and I come from a family of professional chefs.
Right.
That's my way of cutting up chicken using a knife and cutting up something and not going to jail for it. Because there's some frustrating days out here in this business. You already know that. So with your plan B, I think would probably look at something that you already love doing. Mm-hmm. You know, most people have had a plan for a plan B and wound up going in that direction more so, which was, you know, in other words, mom told me, you know, you need something to fall back on. Well, my mom said, well, if you plan on something to fall back on, you're already looking to fall.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I never looked at a plan B in that aspect, because plan A had to work, because I have no plan B.
Right, right.
So, but when you start to delve into these other aspects of your career or another facet of something else that you may want to do,
Mm-hmm.
just be passionate just as much as you was with your plan A.
Right.
And most people, you know, they go to school for accounting, so that's what they wind up getting a job at while they dabble in music. Because, you know, you got to pay the bills. You want to live indoors. I moved to Atlanta. I was living in my car, frostbitten, you know, taking turns with my band, keeping warm in the bathrooms at Crystal's, sleeping. Not cool. I wear like a badge of honor now, but because I made it.
Right.
But my focus was plan A.
Right.
Never to fall back on the plan B.
Yeah.
Some people think that's a little reckless. But if you're determined and you know that God is in the blessing business, I walk covered in his blood every day that I wake up. So I don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a bad way to look at it, but I honestly don't. I feel that I will be okay every day on the, even when I was sick, the heart attack, since then I had a stroke. And I'm sitting here talking to you. Tell my kids, if I leave here tomorrow, celebrate it. Don't mourn me, don't cry. Celebrate it. My dad was a butthole and he enjoyed every minute of his life.
Right.
And I have no regrets. None. Well, you know, you have some along the way. Ooh,
Right.
shouldn't have done that. But no, don't have any. Don't have anything for any suggestions for plan B, but give it your all like you gave your plan A.
Right. Right.
Fall down. Again, don't do the same thing.
Right.
Try something else. And let's keep this whole party moving.
Right.
And excuse me 1 second. I know y'all don't think this Rona, but it's not. I just been talking. Don't have no water. Excuse me. No Rona. There you go. Y'all backing away from your computers like, hey, what's wrong?
We do be backing away now. I went to the store. I coughed and this man looked at me. He gave me the side eye. It was just a little dry cough. He was like,
Yeah. It's been carried yes, over there.
Right. Right.
But yeah, plan B. What's your plan B? Let me ask you a question.
Well, I mean, for years, I didn't have a plan B. My attitude was pretty much the same thing as yours. I mean, it's always been just music for me. I had to start thinking of other things when I injured my knee and couldn't get on the road for over a year and a half. That's when it was like, okay, so if I'm not on the road, I mean, I was still doing recordings and stuff in the house, so that was bringing in some money, but I did have to figure out some additional hustles. So I was going through my divorce, so I wrote my book. My book is about the music industry and you know, I had a lot of setbacks from record labels. I had 2 deals on the table. I got into a car accident, left me drinking from a straw for 6 months. And when I came back, you know, those deals were no longer on the table. And so I felt like I went through a lot of adversity and a lot of different things, but I was able to pick myself back up. And my focus has always been, you know, music. So now that I injured myself, it's still involving music, but I went back to school and got a degree in marketing and public relations, which I'm using towards music. And my book is about music, you know, so everything is still in an entertainment.
Still based upon that plan A is where your plan B's are and C's are falling into place.
Right.
And that's me. That's what it should be. Okay, I can't do this physically right now. Doesn't mean I'm out of the game.
Right.
I just have to find another way into the game.
Right.
had examples of this a long time. A cousin of mine, Charles Fisher, got drafted in the NFL. Like I said, my town is known for pro football players.
Right.
Cincinnati Bengals. Regular season game. Opening kickoff. Career-ending knee injury. Never can play the game again. He's still in football, but he works in the administrative office for the, well, at the time, my last check, he was working for the Seattle Seahawks. So he's still in the game.
Right.
As a plan B based upon his plan A.
Exactly.
And that's what I think anybody in this industry should do. I think, and even back when I was coming up along in the music industry, everybody has a little bit of ego thinking that they're going to be that Michael Jackson, or if you played basketball, the Michael Jordans. You know, you're going to be the next big superstar, and you should dream that way. You should keep striving to be all of that, because nobody else is in charge of your dreams. Nobody else is going to put the effort into your dream like you do.
Right.
But I see a lot of kids nowadays that, you know, aren't really I guess don't really take the time to look at the business side of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that was something I had to do a long time ago.
Right.
My love for it was yay big. But it's called the music business.
Yeah.
And when I tell kids, not if you don't get somewhere and get some knowledge real quick, you're gonna be on the unsungs or the where are they now?
Right.
Or he sure was good. Excuse me, pardon me. Back in the day, because you know it was a shame he or she had to go and overdose or kill themselves.
Right.
Because they haven't taken the time to learn the business aspect of it to take care of that.
Right.
Because if you do have the talent, and if you don't manage that talent, where it can be monetary for you, you're going to always wind up losing, because nobody's going to give you $1 million.
Right.
You got to go out and go make $1 million. Even though I got to go get my scratch offs now. I'm trying to I play my numbers. You know, hey, I'm still $1 million shy of being a millionaire. I'm working on it. But that's the thing on your plan B.
Yeah.
If you got a plan B, now would be the time to put that into play. But that should have been something you should have been getting information on, or some knowledge about a long time ago.
Right.
Because at my age, I don't see myself out here doing this much longer. I'm fortunate enough, even with my health issues, I feel great and still able to do it. But there's something else that's out there that's blocking that right now. Mm-hmm. So what do I do? I'm gonna either have to hit that Powerball, or find another way to get my hustle on.
Right.
Within my plan A. It's got to be within my plan A.
Right.
Because I don't know how to do anything else.
Right.
It's not a bad thing, I guess.
No, it's definitely not a bad thing. I think you gave some amazing tips and strategies, especially for people in the music industry that are now hit with, you know, what's going on with the coronavirus, that didn't have anything but just music. You can still do your music, but you need to figure out other ways within music to get it. So I think you gave some really good ideas and tips for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things on your plan B, the music business. If you are as a side musician, of course, your production, and you have more time to work on your craft now.
Right. Absolutely.
If you want to be this mega universal star, I don't care how much you say it, but if don't nobody know any material or like your material that you're selling, that international stardom is going to elude you.
Right.
Doesn't mean you stop. It just means you stumble. Brush it off. Try it again.
Right.
Try something else.
Right.
Try a different approach. Learn the business. Start utilizing the internet to find other contacts in other parts of the world.
Right.
Because it's not just about the folks on your block to buy, and family members to buy your record.
Right. It's a whole big world out there.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah.
I've traveled it too many times.
Yeah.
And to watch what we do bring that many people together.
Yeah.
One singing your material or whoever you're working for.
Right.
It's that's the most magical thing I've ever witnessed, and still to this day, I'm amazed at it.
Yeah. Yeah. With me being an independent artist, I am amazed and still in awe at all of the places I've been able to tour and see. Like, I've literally been around the world, and it's been an amazing journey, especially because I'm an independent artist. But it is something that I wouldn't trade for anything in the world.
No, absolutely not. Took me away from my family a lot, but when the checks clear, they don't mind.
Right. Right.
Remember, was it the second tour? Yeah. No, it was the first Bieber tour. We happened to been off in Israel around this time during Easter. Got a chance to go to Old Jerusalem, see where Jesus was crucified, the Sea of Galilee. God, what else did we do while we was in Jerusalem? But all that Passover stuff, they wouldn't serve no bread. We couldn't get nothing, man. We wasn't used to that. Things of that nature. You traveled. I've been to just about every part of Africa.
Right.
Europe. Freezing in Oslo, Norway. Things I dreamed about. Like I said, some of those things weren't even things I dreamed about as a kid. They just happened to been a part of their package.
Right.
And I wouldn't change them for the world.
Right.
So it can be achieved. You've been there. We dream of it, but once we get there, it's still work.
Yeah, definitely.
But you still come back and go, wow, I did that.
Yeah.
And that's until you get to that's which I call a small pinnacle in your career. I would suggest that everybody keeps striving for that, because that's a wonderful feeling. Somebody's going to pay you some money to have some fun.
Yeah.
It's the best thing in the world. I wish everybody could, go out and experience that.
Yeah.
Because, I've had to take a couple of jobs. I didn't like it first. Didn't last long, but, someone telling you what to do. I hate that.
Yeah, me too. It's definitely.
Doing anything else with your recordings or anything?
Yeah. I'm in the studio now. I'm gonna be calling you to get some more tracks so we can make some more songs and everything. Wizard did my song, produced my single "Straight in My Heart," which I have a music video for. Did you see the music video?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
it's on here.
Yeah.
On the computer.
Yeah.
One was something I really enjoyed doing, because you came with an idea, said, this is what I'm looking for. Can you do it? I said, okay, give me a second. I'll downplay everything that I do, because I'm always looking to make everything better. That's why I say I'm never satisfied with the job that I've done.
Right.
So that's what makes me strive to be a little bit better every day.
Yeah.
But when someone comes to me and go, I like that, give that to me. So, why do you want this garbage? But when it's finished, you try to get the best out of it that you can. But when it's finished, and you think it's that masterpiece, it's a wonderful feeling to have that, all of that stuff come to life with artists like yourself, Johnny, and other people that I've written and produced stuff for. Whether it's a record or live, doesn't matter.
Right.
You're still creating. What you bring to the table is I guess that's my food.
Right.
For my soul.
Right.
When somebody says, job well done.
Right.
And then you go out. But what you brought to the table, bringing this stuff to life from this record to the stage, we're able to work 30 years from now.
Yeah.
20 years, 17 years.
Right.
Johnny. Those are the things that matter in life.
Right.
You look back and go, okay, I didn't mess that up too bad.
Right.
Now, hopefully somebody needs some tracks for a TV show or something going on Netflix or anything. Sounds like a big paycheck. Call me.
Right. So with that being said, do you want to tell people how they can get in contact with you? If you need tracks, if Netflix.
Yeah. I mean, if you're looking for anything, most of the artists that I've named, if you look on YouTube on any in live aspects, from Justin Bieber down to Barkade's Dad's Band, old school to new school, you'll find me up in there, which is wonderful. But you can reach me through my Facebook, Wizard Jones, Instagram, I'm Wizard Jones, or Wizard6262 at gmail.com. Phone number 770-315-3767. Shoe size 11, preferably Jordans. But anyway, and as many passes on the MARTA card you can give me.
That's silly.
Have to be in this business. You know that if you don't smile and find a way to decompress, it'll consume you.
Absolutely.
It will consume you. That's the dangerous part. And that's any job, really.
Yeah.
Post office, it doesn't matter. If you don't find something where you can find 30 minutes a day to just get somewhere and decompress, it'll make the whole difference in your life.
Absolutely. Well, with that being said, we are going to get off of here. I want to tell you, thank you so much for being a part of my show. I have learned so much that I didn't know. I thought I knew a little bit of everything about you.
Most people do, because I don't hang out, or I don't, all my business isn't on Facebook or of that nature. I guess that's why I need other people to help sell that part. I don't do that very well.
Right.
I'm just me, man in this world, trying to make some music and make others happy, make others sing along and dance.
That's what's up. Well, guys, we're going to get off of here. But again, Wizard, thank you so much. And
thank you.
See you guys later. Bye.
Sayonara.
See you got me thinking about the very first time that we met. Ever since I've been daydreaming